Hello and welcome to the BMW GS experience brought to you by Off Road Skills. It's November, we should all be in a massive shed called the NEC doing this show for you guys day in, day out at Motorcycle Live. We can't do that this year, so we've done social distancing the best way we know how at Off Road Skills. We've come to this wonderful 4,000 acre playground that we know as home, and Off Road Skills is Walters Arena. Perfect place for riding adventure bikes and improving your skills. Now, we've got coming up a nice little demonstration of some of the stuff we teach on our courses. We start from level 1 for absolute off-road novices, and you can work all the way through to level 3 where we'll have you power sliding and skidding to your heart's content. Now with me today to help do this presentation is one of our instructors, Neil Hawker. He's a Dakar motorcycle racer. The calibre of the riders on the school is always very high for the instructors. Neil, come down and join us.
Hello, and yeah, welcome to Walters Arena. We've got an amazing area here in South Wales, and we are pretty lucky. This is the best place for any adventure riding in the UK. It's absolutely everything you need here, with ups, downs, ruts. Oh, there's a bit of everything, and we can teach you all how to ride these amazing adventure bikes off-road. All right, Chris?
Neil, shouldn't you be going to the Dakar?
So in a few weeks' time.
A few weeks' time. Well, we're going to pinch you for a little bit first. We're going to run through what we do on the schools. So what we've got for you today, rather than our customary 10-metre square arena in the NEC, we've got a 4,000 acre arena to show you today. We're going to run through some of the lessons we do at Off Road Skills. Now, we like to start from the absolute basics, get those dialed, and work through every aspect of off-road motorcycling to get you as much confidence and skill as you'll need out there in the wild. Lesson 1, Neil, picking up the bike.
Yeah, we've got to start somewhere, and it's not a very nice sight seeing these lovely new bikes on the ground, but yeah, you've got to pick them up sometimes when you fall off. So this is the first thing we teach at Off Road Skills. We want to do it the easiest way. There's thousands of videos on YouTube, how to do it, this, that and the other. But we just do it the easiest way. The least energy we can use picking up the bike means we can expend more energy riding them. The first thing is turn the bike off. There's always that moment when you're riding with friends and they fall off the bike, or you fall off the bike and you don't want them to see, so you run back to the bike, try and pick it up, and it's in gear, right, and you go flying down the road and have to pick it up again. So turn it off, big red button or the ignition. So you're now hopefully in this state here, and it's not too bad, it's not up on its end or anything like that. It's a horrible sight. So get up on 2 wheels, engines off. Now we can go into lifting the bike up. Straight away, we want to make it easy for ourselves by putting it on a lock, the steering, the handlebars to that lock. That gives us a solid platform to lift with. Once we're in this position, I'm not going to go into manual handling. Get comfortable. The furthest point of the handlebar, the most leverage. Get your hands at the bottom of the grip. I cup my hands over each other. You want to look up, use your strong legs, not that back. As you look up and lift, just walk forward and the bike should come up nicely. So, looking up, even uphill, look. I did make it easy for myself.
Neil, you made that look like an absolute piece of cake there. And
Cake.
Again, cake, always need cake. And we have a 2-person lift that we use on the schools, but we're keeping our distance at the moment, so we're not going to use that. Now, Neil, you look totally comfortable with that, but you're holding it in one hand, fingertips. Can you talk us through our next lesson, which is about the balance of the bike?
Yeah, we see it so many times where people say adventure bikes are too heavy and too tall and this, that and the other. So we do exercises where it's all about the confidence of bike handling. And we see it when you have to walk around the bike even. People are so close, they're scared to get away from it. They move in, they bump in everything, the indicators, the horn. Yeah, every time you move around the bike, you're battling your balance of yourself and the bike. By taking that step away and trusting the bike, it makes a massive difference to your bike confidence and being able to just move around the bike. So we do a lesson about the balance of the bike. Down here, it's heavy. Ugh. Over there, it's heavy. But actually, up on 2 wheels, and again, you get a notice a theme going on with the bars to a lock. Once the bar's to a lock and the bike's upright, they're weightless. You can hold it by fingertips. You don't even have to hold it at all. They are super well balanced. But you see, I'm at away from the bike. The bike's in gear, so we're forgetting about neutral. It can't roll away. I've got no brakes on. The bars are to a lock. I'm taking that step away. And from there, you can just walk around it normally. You can look around, look at the scenery, have a fiddle around with the suspension at the back. Really get confidence handling the bike.
Now, as Neil mentioned there, that is something that we can all work on, and it's real good to come and spend some time. Do it on our bikes if you're nervous about doing it on your own. All the schools are on our fleet of bikes, so you don't have to worry about dropping your bike. Come and use ours and we'll teach you how to be that confident and that in control moving around the bike. Now, the next little lesson we're going to talk about, it might seem a little bit patronising. We're going to teach you how to get on and off a motorcycle. Anyone here not able to do that? No. So, getting on and off the bike, again, this is a big difference between road riding and off-road riding. Let's have a show of hands virtually on the internet there. Anyone ever gone to get on their bike in a car park, swung their leg over and couldn't find the floor the other side? You've done it, I've watched you do it.
Not one. Okay, it was on your bike.
And for the benefit of the people behind the camera, there's 3 of the Off Road Skills staff team who've got their hand up behind us here. So, getting on and off the bike in off-road situations and in awkward situations, we've got a couple of little techniques that really help make that safer, less effort and less risk of toppling over in front of your mates. Neil, talk us through it.
We sure can, Chris. Well, straight away, if I try and put this centre side stand into the ground, it might just dig in or sink down. Also, if we use that side stand, we're relying on a little pin, and it does throw the weight of the bike the wrong way when we try and swing on. So by taking that side stand away, we've already talked about that neutral is non-existent. We're in gear, the bike's not going to roll anywhere. Again, that confidence of handling the bike, we've got that, or we'll learn that for sure. And then by just lowering the bike into you, that means the bike's lower and it's going to be easy to get on. Put our chest towards the tank, swing that leg over straight to the foot peg. See, my weight has not changed, the bike's not changed. So that eliminates that trying to find a foot, especially if there's nothing here. It could be a drop or some slippery rocks. So straight away, I'm balanced. I'm in gear, I've got a comfortable position on the bike. I can just put the clutch in and ride away.
Now, I promise we do actually get to do some riding on the school, but again, it's all about getting these important details fine-tuned at the beginning and they carry on through the rest of the course. So the next thing we're going to look at is walking with the bike. Now, have a little show of hands on the internet there. Has anyone ever parked their bike somewhere, come back to it an hour later, and it's boxed in by 4 or 5 scooters, or someone's put their car in the bike bay and you can't get it out? It's a really annoying situation, and times like that, on road, and times again off road when you've got to get out of somewhere tricky, it's always better just to get off the bike, walk it a few yards, and you can get back on and carry on without an incident. Neil, I'm going to get you to come in now and talk us through the walking with the bike lesson.
So yeah, walking with a bike, it doesn't sound very interesting, does it, Chris? But yeah, like you say, there's plenty of reasons why we do it. One of them is like a river crossing. If you're doing a river crossing and it's a raging river or even something you have to cross, again, do it with a few people and we can go along that, talk about that on our adventure travel training course. But anyway, I digress. I'm walking with a bike. So it's the first introduction of the clutch as well, which is really important. Now this is the best safety switch we've got. When we're walking with a bike, we're using the clutch to slow us down or speed us up. We're not worrying about the throttle whatsoever, so the throttle's pretty much off. Well, it is off because that's a different lesson, that's running with a bike, and we're not there yet. So, walking with a bike, it's in first gear, again, forget about neutral. Start the bike up. 2 fingers on the clutch, we're going to start to introduce that, getting a real good feeling for the clutch. See me there? I'm just rocking it back and forward using that clutch, so we're getting really good with that. I'm going to stand away from the bike. Give myself a little bit of room to walk. For some reason, we get people walking with a bike and they start walking like a crab. We're going to walk as normal. We're going to look where we're going. Just using that clutch, and we're going to look around. We're going to walk. It's going to be very elegant, and it's a really good way of getting used to the clutch and being able to walk the bike when we need to. Getting it out of dodgy situations, like Chris said, or being boxed in, or just like a river crossing. How far do I have to walk, Chris?
Miles, Neil. We haven't got to stay in the arena now. 4,000 acres worth of walking to be done. Right, before we can get to riding these bikes around the woods, we've got to cover off the most important part of off-road motorcycle riding. It's not spraying people with mud, it's not splashing through puddles, it is in fact the riding position. The thing you'll notice when you see people riding off-road well, they're stood up. Getting a good standing position on a bike makes everything that comes afterwards much, much easier. So Neil, talk us through the fundamentals of the standing position on an adventure bike.
So yeah, straight away, it's about being comfortable on the bike. It's not a stress position, it's just like we stand up as normal, up on 2 feet, nice and comfortable. You should be able to, yeah, control the bike without actually having your hands on the handlebars by being in the correct standing up position. And we go through it individually to tailor your needs, so everybody's different size feet, heights, everything like that. So yeah, it's getting in the right standing position that is so important. From your legs, from your knees, your hips, losing a bit of height maybe, your head, looking around, you need to be able to see obstacles, also to react to obstacles. If you, the quicker we react to them, yeah, the better we can ride because we're prepared for what's coming up. Your hand position, your elbows, we go through everything to get you in the right standing up position.
Perfect. Neil, enough stationary stuff. Get on that bike. I want you to start riding around this arena. Start riding around. I want you to talk about the control of this bike and actually steering it through the foot pegs.
So from here, we're going to go riding. Now, we've got thousands of acres of Welsh forestry and all sorts of terrain to cover. So we get you straight away confident by standing up and going through the standing up position. We start using our knees and moving around the bike, a suspension, and getting good with our vision, using our head. So yeah, once we get confident with the standing position, then we make it a little bit harder for yourself by making a slalom, by using foot peg pressure, combination of vision, the standing position, really getting some tight turns on these bikes. And you'll be amazed how tight they can turn in the body position with the correct vision. Once we progress and get confident, then the instructor will make it a little bit harder. What we got now, Chris?
So Neil, the next lesson we're going to move on to is building on the slalom, but starting to turn these bikes in a tighter space. This lesson, not very inventive with the name, is called Circle in a Square. We're going to have a square of cones and I want you to do a nice full lock tight turn, Neil, and talk to us how you use your body weight to let you do that tight turn.
So straight away, all my weight is now off of the inside peg. I start to lean the bike in. Now, because I'm leant in, all my body weight needs to be on the outside of the bike. And you can really tip the bike over with a little bit of vision, just moving around. You'll be surprised how tight you can turn. And then once you get dizzy, you can go the other way. You can go round and round, showing off in a car park with your mates, turning as tight as you can. The more weight you can put on that outside peg, the tighter you can turn. How about that?
Lovely, Neil. So the next thing we're going to move on to is braking. Now, braking exercises is something we spend a fair bit of time on at the beginning stage of the schools because we want you to get confidence and feel on the brakes and be able to use them effectively off-road. So the first part of this lesson, we turn the ABS off so you can get a feel for the tyres sliding and what the grip is like off-road. Second part, we're going to use the ABS because it is phenomenal. The off-road ABS on these bikes really, really works properly off-road. Neil, I want you to do a couple of laps now. I want to do some back brake skids, front brake exercise, and then correct braking to a stop. Fire into it.
Yeah. Okay. So the ABS is off. We're going to get in a straight line, a little runway made up by the instructors. ABS off, first gear, nice and steady. We're going to go along, you're feeling for that back brake. The clutch comes in, back brake comes on, and you skid all the way till you stop. Because the back brake's on, you're going to put that left foot down, and we're just going to stop nicely. It gets us that feeling of how the bike reacts under a skid, and also it tells us the back brake on its own is not that good. So from here, we're going to get confident with that front brake. We're not going to use the clutch. The clutch is out. The front brake just comes on very slowly. And I'm only using one finger there, and you can start to feel the front brake scrabble in the gravel. Skip along you're getting really confident. The more pressure I put on that front brake, the more it skids along. But that inner ABS will kick in and you'll let go of that front brake. So there's a drop of certain doom that way. We're going to come along the track. We're really going to tell you how good this ABS system is. Because, I mean, I'm not a road bike rider. I've not really got to grips with ABS on the road because I've never had to use it so much. Now these bikes have totally surprised me how good they are for the ABS. Fast as we can, to a brake. Chris's bike was my gauge to put the brakes on. I come to a very controlled stop.
So after we've mastered the art of braking, we get to explore on our site. We've got 4,000 acres of beautiful trails, from easy stuff to impossible stuff and everything in between. Now, as we go around the site, putting into practice all the stuff we've learned in the early part of the course, we're going to start finding uphills and downhills and getting ourselves into a few little pickles, which once again, we're going to show you the tools and techniques for getting out of trouble. Number one of those, hill recovery. Neil, time for you to get stuck. So, talk us through the hill recovery exercise and how we get out of sticky situations like this.
So straight away, I've stored it. Learning how to stall it is really, really important. Firstly, it holds you. I'm not on the brakes, no front, no rear, no hill start assist, nothing, it's holding me. It might go back if you give it a try on something as steep as this. It's pretty slippery, but it does hold you quite nicely. Then we're going to get off the bike. Again, a bit of the bike confidence, being able to step away from it. So from here, we're going to want to get around that off the hill safely. So we're going to come around ourselves. So we're going to always stay the higher side of the bike. And we're going to lean the bike into you. So if the worst does happen, it just goes into the higher side. It doesn't go all the way down that way. We're going to turn the bars, and now we're just coming back on the clutch. Very, very smoothly. Nice and smooth. Once it's going, we can then control our speed just with that clutch. A few footsteps to get yourself following the bike. It might slip down a little because you're going over rocks or in rain gullies. But as we come back smooth on that clutch, get to the point where you're near enough level on the hill where you can't go back any further. There might be a ditch or you just can't go back. From here, we're going to use the front wheel to move us around and get out of whatever's the problem is. So here, the clutch comes out, the front brake comes on. I'm going to lean the bike into me. I'm going to go left to right with that front brake on, full lock, left to right, and you've moved the bike nearly a metre without too much effort at all. Then we can get back on the bike, remembering to go straight to that foot peg, because we're on a hill, so there might not be anything to put the foot on. From here, we can just ride out and have another go at the hill.
And what Neil's talking about there, obviously the aim is to get to the top of the hill, but it's really important to know what to do if you do get stuck. And by knowing how to deal with that situation, you're normally much more confident in attacking the hill. That's hill recovery dealt with. We've got ourselves off the hill. We want to be looking to make it to the top of the hill. So what we're going to talk about now is an exercise called momentum. And it's about using the grip, using the ground where you've got it to drive, and then using that momentum to carry you up and over an obstacle. The same problem comes at the top though, because if we hit the top of this bank in fourth gear, we're not going to make the turn at the top. So we need to carry that momentum to the top, be back in control at the top, so we can make the turn and carry on up the road. Neil, give us a little demo. Nice drive along the flat, and then that momentum carries you up the bank. The beauty with this exercise is, as he comes back down now, it works on all sizes of banks. So Neil, let's up the ante a little bit. Okay, what about this one?
That one?
Yeah, what about this one? But what if I make you stop there? Okay, so from there, we've got a couple of bike lengths to get as much drive in as we can and carry our momentum to the top of that bank. Neil, over to you. Beautiful job. And as Neil comes back down now, we're going to talk about what we've done. We've looked at level 1 so far, and that really is the absolute grounding in off-road skills. It's about getting all those basic skills right, perfecting all that bike control, and then you can move on to doing bigger and better stuff on levels 2 foundation, level 2, and level 3. By the time we're at level 3, we're starting to look at things like ruts, preloading jumping ditches, and brake slides and power slides. Neil, it's your time to play. Level 3 is a lot of fun, and when you've got that skill and control on the bike, it's incredible what you can make one of these things do. So I'm going to shut up for a minute and leave you in the capable hands of Mr. Neil Hawker to show what a GS 1250 really can do.
Okay, ruts. You've got a perfect rut here. Straight away, it's about the vision. We want to be looking up the track, up the trail, as far as you can. Vision's nice and high. Foot peg pressure. We want to be loose on the bike still, because the bike might move around. If you're gripping it tight, when the bike moves, you move. So we've got lots of little areas here at Walters Arena to really play on ruts. So it's vision, standing in position, and a little bit of drive. So once you get onto level 2 and level 3, we then amp it up. One of the cool things we do is preloads. Now preloading is using the bike, the suspension, your body to get over an obstacle safely without just smashing into it. Here we've got a little ditch, preload just to get over the obstacle. Once you get a little bit more confidence, you can really start playing. Do a little rut, a little bounce over it. You can then just use it anywhere on the trail. Here was a little rock, being able to bounce up it, over it, hop over things, really start enjoying these bikes for what they're designed for, and jumping around, playing around on the bike. Firstly, we've got a skid and turn. Once you've mastered the skid turn, you can then really start playing from skid turn to power slide.
So as Neil finishes up there, thanks very much for watching, guys. Sorry we couldn't be with you in the NEC show in Birmingham. However, we will be here in 2021. Beautiful 4,000 acre site. Get yourself booked in. I promise it will be the best 2 days motorcycling you've ever had. Learn to ride off-road and the whole world is your playground. We've got the site booked for another hour now, so I'm off to go and enjoy the trails. We'll see you in 2021. Come on, Neil, let's go have some fun.